Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Front. My name is Mike Phillips and I will be your host. As always, you can cruise on over to leadtheteam.tv and please subscribe to the YouTube channel there. Also, you can check out the audio podcasts on Google Play, on iHeartRadio, and on iTunes. Now today I'm doing my episode a little bit different. I'm doing a throwback to one that I did several years ago. It's one of the most popular podcasts I've ever run. It's titled The Yes Factor, and it's all about the power of positivity, how to speak to yourself positively, how to speak to others, and there is an assignment at the end, so I would encourage you, please listen all the way through the podcast. As always, I sure appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you really get something out of this episode. So sit back, relax, and enjoy The Yes Factor.
Thanks for tuning in to Lead the Teams, The Front.
Ready to rock, ready to roll here this evening. We got the Yes Factor coming at you. One of the biggest shows, the ones we got compliments on, was the pace and intensity. So I thought, hey, I'm going to kick it off with something else exciting, a little bit like with a little P&I, a little pace and intensity. Anytime you want to contact us, you can check us out at www.leadtheteam.net. You can look at www.leadtheteam.net/blog. I do a weekly blog there. You can look on Facebook at facebook.com/leadtheteam.llc. On Twitter, jump in as one of the followers there. You can always email Mike at leadtheteam.net. As we kick it off tonight, a couple things, and we're talking a lot of the things that I talk about. I talk about motivation, I talk about positive attitude, I talk about sales training, talk about leadership. Tonight it should be just motivation, excitement, and it's just coming in and saying yes. That's it. That's the show. You guys have a good. No, I'm just kidding. It's all about just the power. It's the way that we talk to ourselves. It's the way that we groom ourselves to talk to ourselves. And it's that power of positivity. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of power in just that one word, just the word yes. For me, when you're saying to yourself, well, when or where, how do you use it? One of the things as I was sitting and I'm coming up with my notes for tonight's show, one of the things that to me, yes means, if you break it out, it's yourself eliminating stoppage, Y-E-S, yourself eliminating stoppage. Because we have so much stoppage, so much negativity, so much no in our day, and especially for the salespeople that tune in and listen to this stuff. If you are a salesman or a saleswoman or a salesperson, a professional sales consultant, whatever title it is that you choose to give yourself especially, you hear no to the extraordinary. It's not just no. There's like 10,000 ways to hear the word no. So as we're getting into this evening's talk, this is going to be ways for you to talk more positively to yourself. It's going to be more positive for you to engage the people around you and get more positive yeses. It's going to be for you to engage as a sales tool and get more yeses because, you know, they always say the road to the sale, if I can get 45 yeses, that 45th yes or whatever, there's a bunch of different road to the sales, but for each person it depends. For most people, they say, okay, I get that 45th yes, that's the big one, man. That's how it works. That's how I get my yes. That's how I get the sale. That's how I get paid. That's how I get excited, and you get all pumped up. So a couple of facts here. Now, when I'm talking about, like I said, you might write that down. Yes to me, break it out, Y-E-S, yourself eliminating stoppage. That's it. You're knocking out all the stoppage. You're knocking out all the no in your life. And I'll tell you this, you know that I think it was UCLA some years ago, a number of years ago, did a study on how many times the average child, age 2 to 3, hears the word no. And I really what I should do is pull my son in here and ask him how many times he hears the word no. Because they did this study, and the average number of times a 2 and 3-year-old hears the word no 400 times a day. So I'll tell you this, you know what, there's one group of people, salespeople, that will beat you in the no contest, and that's the 2 and 3-year-old community out there. Because they hear it constantly. No, don't do this. No, don't touch the burner. No, 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 no. And a lot of that, then obviously it can stem to as we get older, that's how we're conditioned, and when we hear the word no, it has a very negative connotation. So just saying the word no, it's a negative orientation. It's a negative connotation in our lives as we're listening to it. And so we have to reprogram ourselves collectively, me, you, We all need to reprogram ourselves so that we're in that more positive, that constant positive state. And I promise you, and the more positive you are, it doesn't matter the people around you, because believe me, there are plenty of people out there to have and maintain that negativity for you. There's plenty of them. So, like I said, get excited, get pumped. And yes, when we're talking about it, just the word yes, if you're saying it, that gives you power. It gives you a powerful, positive feeling. It creates more confidence. I've been to seminars, literally. If anyone has ever seen Tony Robbins speak, I think the guy's a brilliant speaker, a brilliant motivational person, really good coach. And if you've ever heard him speak, there's a lot of times just throughout his speech, he'll be up there, he's giving a seminar, he's pumped up, and he'll say, hey, everybody say yes, and everyone, yes, So if you're out there right now in your living room or in your computer room in your office, you're on your laptop, you're sitting in the airport terminal somewhere listening to this, just stand up and out of the blue say yes, and well, see how people look at it. So it's certainly, I promise you this, you're going to get a reaction. I also, if you're in a public area, somebody's going to ask you what you're so excited about, because there's excitement associated with that word. It gives you that positive feeling. It's a positive affirmation. Just repeating yes over and over and over to yourself, that will change your mood. Now, obviously, there are some steps associated. You cannot just say yes. It's that the old adage: affirmation without action is delusion, and that's absolutely right in this case. You can't just sit on the couch and eat Twinkies and say yes, 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 yes. I'm so excited. I'm so glad to be here. All that's going to happen, you're going to end up being miserable. You're going to gain weight, and you will not accomplish the things that you're wanting to set out to accomplish. However, if you're talking to yourself in that positive manner, you're saying yes, you're creating more affirmations, you're creating more positive questions, you're creating more positive answers for yourself, and you're taking the action necessary in conjunction with those positive affirmations, with what you're telling yourself, you are so much more likely to accomplish the things that you're set out to do. And I'll tell you this, when we're talking about accomplishing things that we set out to do, I'm going to preface this by saying this next statement, because I have to talk about this for a moment, it's not a political statement, okay? However, we have an entire presidential campaign. This most recent presidential campaign revolved solely around three little words that came out as what? Yes, we can. And I'm telling you, when President Obama was out there saying, oh, yes, we can, yes, we can, yes, we can, and getting people pumped up, I'll tell you what, he wasn't just saying it to the people out there about what he wanted them to do, about what we wanted to accomplish as a nation, about what everybody wanted and perceived him to accomplish as a politician. I promise you that part of the reason that came to being is because he was saying it to himself, that I'm going to win this election, yes, we can, and we're going out doing this thing. Like I said, not a political statement. I'm not saying for good or for bad, but what I am saying is I love the statement, yes, we can. And if that's what you're focused on, and that's what you stay focused on, yes, we can, yes, you can, yes, I can, and yes, whatever, yes, add in a statement, I promise that you're able to accomplish whatever it is that you set out to do. And I'll tell you this, when you're talking about positive affirmation also, when we're talking about, hey, positive being the yes, obviously, that is the basis for managing and staging your attitude. Yes is the total deciding factor in people that are successful. They don't stop and ask themselves negative questions. They say, hey, could I do this? And they answer with, you got it, yes. They're absolutely going to be pumped up and excited about whatever it is that they're setting out to accomplish. It doesn't matter whether it's your group on Facebook, your Facebook page, your business, the people that you hang out with, what it is you want to accomplish, that invention that you're going to make. All of that stems from asking yourself one question, and there's only two outcomes. Are you going to act on it or are you not? It's yes or no. That's it. It's simple. Simple, simple, simple. So I will tell you, that's how you need to talk to yourself. And I promise you this, too. If you're talking to other people that way, if you have that inward yes mentality, you're stoked, you're excited about it, you have that mentality with yourself, I promise you it's going to exude, it will bleed out of your pores that you're excited when you talk to other people. And I promise you this, it's going to attract the positive people in your life, because positivity, and I'll say this, positivity attracts more positivity. The more positive you are, the more excited, the more that you're doing for others, the more people see that, and they're like, man, I want to accomplish that. I want to, and they start doing it not for personal gain, but for global gain, for that just that positive good feeling. There's a lot to be said for a positive good feeling, a positive return on something. Now here's the other thing with the yes mentality, the positive mentality, the I can conquer the world and do anything mentality. When you start talking to yourself that way, and you have that positive mental talk, and it's how you tune yourself, the cool thing that will start, well, I shouldn't say cool thing, one of the amazing, exciting, enchanting, almost magical things that will start to happen, you as an individual will start to act out of inspiration rather than out of desperation. And I'll tell you that when you're acting out of inspiration, it's just right. It just happens and everything falls into place. When you act out of inspiration, when you're acting out of desperation, it is a reactive mode. It means something has taken place, some action has taken place, and you have to respond. So what you really want to do is you want to get yourself in a position through all of these positive channels, the positive things, the things that you're saying to yourself, the things that you're doing, the way that you're talking to other people, the power of positive meditation, the constant training, all of these different facets of your life, the building up your family, your spouse or significant other, your children, your aunts and uncles, and all of those positive influence and building those people up. And what will happen is as you continue to do that, when things come up, you'll just act. You won't stop and wait and ask the question. You will just act, and it'll be purely out of inspiration. It will not be a reactive state. It will not be out of any sort of desperation. So while we're talking about that positive acting out of inspiration, when we're acting out of inspiration, things just happen to go right. That it happens all the time in my life. I promise you it happens all the time in your life. So here's going to be your assignment. I'm giving it to you a little bit in the middle of the show. But what I want you to do, I want you to take the time to write down 10 people that inspire you. When you write down 10 people that inspire you, I want at least half of them to be people that you personally know. So, and this should be a very, very easy activity. All you need to do, you need to write down, okay, here's these 5 people that I personally know. It could be your wife or your husband, your children, your grandparents. I want you to write down people that you have had physical, personal, emotional contact with, that you know, you have a relationship with. The other 5 can be whomever. Like I said, I've said several times, there are so many people, John Maxwell, Tony Robbins, Larry Wingett, Napoleon Hill. There's just too many to even mention. So I really want you to take the time to look through, and I want you to write down 10 people that inspire you, because everyone is going to be inspired, and they're going to be touched differently. So the people that inspire you are not necessarily going to inspire me. It could be somebody that you say, man, they have this aura and this positivity and this energy, and I'm so excited. At the same time, you may have somebody else that says, well, yeah, they have the personality of a wet paper bag. And that happens. There are certain people, there are certain relationships that click. So what I'm telling you is write the people down that inspire you, and then I want you, out of those 10 people, to write down 3 traits that they all have in common. Because I promise you, if those people are all inspiring you, they're all inspiring to you, they're all having that positivity, they're all having that positive influence in your mind, that's what's creating part of the yes factor in you. And I want you to write down 3 traits. 3 traits that they all share in common. And those 3 traits, what I want you to do is I want you to spend time working on them. The next thing that I want to talk about, when we're talking about the yes factor, I'm going through this Joe Vitale course. And one of the things that they continue to talk about, and I want to share with everybody here, is what if up thinking. And that ties into the yes. That ties into the yes factor. It ties into the yes mentality. It's what if up thinking. You can write that one down too. It's different from what if down thinking. And the way that it works, and like I said, unfortunately, this is not my original idea. I wish it was. It's a Joe Vitale teaching. And the way that it works, when you have that inspiration, when you're ready to act on something, you're ready to go, you're excited, and you're ready to pull the trigger, most of the time you ask yourself, what if blank? And you return, what if, for most people, again, not everybody, most people say, what if it doesn't work? So the teaching that I would like to share tonight, the one thing that has definitely inspired me the most recently, and this is just an active emotion, an active feeling, a current activity in my life, is ask yourself the question, what if it does? What if this works? What if the plan pans out exactly as I've painted the picture in my mind? What if it works? And just ask yourself that question. So you need to, that's another part of the assignment. Make sure that you're focused on what if up thinking. When we're talking about the yes mentality, here's a couple of other things, couple of other facts. Yes creates an elevated view of yourself. Understand, people, you're never, ever, ever going to eliminate the negative. You cannot you cannot totally eliminate the negativity out of your life. You can't eliminate the negative things. There are going to be negative emotions. There may be negative traits about yourself. You can never eliminate them fully. But I'll tell you what you can do. You can polish all of your positives so that they're so honed, so polished, and so bright that they'll outshine any negativity that comes in. And so that's one of the things when you're tuning into programs like this. Tune back and listen to my show about pace and intensity, or do any of the activities that we teach. There's one on managing your attitude and focusing on that positive meditation. It's a 6-step breakout to teach yourself to meditate and have that few minutes to conversate and talk and communicate with yourself. And so if you take that time to really hone those positive skills and hone the yes mentality, then the only things that'll come from it, you're going to shine so bright that any sort of negativity, any sort of negative thing it'll just be absolutely abolished in your life. You won't even, I promise you won't notice it, and the people around you won't notice it. As we're talking about this, I want you to pause right now and ask yourself, what's my habit of thinking? How do you talk to yourself right now? Because I'm telling you, it's so easy to change. You change it just like that. You change it from a negative to a positive. It takes one instant to make that shift. And so stop the excuses. Stop saying that you can't this, you can't that. Knock it off. Stop the excuses and start turning it on. Start creating your positive affirmation. Start saying yes to yourself. Start helping create the yes in others. Start spreading the positivity rather than breeding the negativity. When you're talking to everybody, if you keep in mind, like I said earlier, and I'll give the quote again, positivity, if you have congruency and you're positive and you're constant, positivity attracts more positivity. It's like a magnet that positivity attracts more positivity. Negativity, just like a cancer, it breeds the negative, right? And that's why you see the smoke rings in various businesses and sales and all kinds of different areas of business. You see those smoke rings or the water cooler talk, whatever you want to call it. It just continues to breed and breed and breed and breed more. Whether it's negative or positive, the universe doesn't care. It's going to recreate. Here's one other trick. Here's a trick when we're dealing with other people, because like I said, we deal with yes with ourselves. We've talked a lot about our positive mental attitude. When you're dealing with others, when you're talking with anybody else, keep in mind when we're talking about getting the yes, always tell people what you want. Don't tell them what you don't want. And what I mean by that, here's something really, really simple. Everybody's experienced this in their time, I promise you. You're on your way out the door, and heck, this happened to me the other day. Hopefully, my wife's sitting out there. She's probably going to be like, yeah, that's true. You're walking out the door, and they say, don't forget your lunch. And I know she would debate with me. She didn't say don't forget your lunch, but that's what went through my head. Don't forget your lunch. What do you think happens? You attach to that negative portion, and you forget your lunch. Versus if you focus in on the positive portion of it and you say, hey, make sure you remember your lunch, they're a lot more likely to accomplish what it is. And it's the same thing for the people in sales, for the managers out there. When we're talking about that yes and the positive and focusing, tell people what you want them to achieve and they will do it. If you tell them what you don't want them to achieve, guess what? They'll do it. So the key here is, like with salespeople, I promise you, I've been a manager in a car dealership, and what happens, you're in there and you're rocking and rolling, and the guy comes in and they say, well, hey, boss, the customer wants this on the car. And you go, oh, well, don't tell him that. And what do you think the salesperson does? They go and tell him exactly what you told them not to do. Instead, load their lips, say, hey, here's what I want you to say. Here's what I would like you to accomplish. Here's what I want you to achieve. And that person will go execute it on it just as brilliantly. So always when you're speaking with people, regardless if it's in business, in sales, in personal life, always ask people what you want them to do. Remember, how are you talking to yourself? Remember breaking out, yes, yourself, eliminating stoppages. Knock them out of your life. Get excited and get pumped up. Focus on the way you talk to yourself. And as we've gone through all of the other things. What if up thinking? What if it works? Ask yourself that. Write down those people. Remember the assignment. Write down 10 people, at least five of whom you know personally that are an inspiration to you. And what traits about them do they have in common? Why do they inspire you? Because I promise you, those will be some of your strong traits, and those will be some of the things that attracted you to those people. They're probably some of your strengths, whether you know it or not. And then spend time really polishing those positive traits. So that's how that ties together, is you spend time polishing the positive so that it outshines the negative. So focus on all the positives. Hope everything is great. Yours in success. We'll talk to you soon.